Have you ever sat in a salon chair and wondered what's really going on behind the scenes to keep you safe? It's so much more than just getting a great result. Professional beauty is actually built on a solid foundation of science and safety. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the critical principles of infection control that every single pro has to master.
So let's just ask it straight up. How safe is your salon visit? It's something we honestly don't think about much, right? We just trust that it is. But the real answer? It lies in a whole set of super strict, scientifically backed procedures that are all about protecting both you and your stylist.
Because here's the thing, the biggest risks in a salon, they aren't what you'd expect. It's not a bad haircut or a smudged nail polish. Nope. The real dangers are completely invisible. We're talking about a microscopic battlefield of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that these professionals are trained to fight day in and day out.
Which brings us right to our first section, the salon's invisible threat. When you think about it, this makes beauty professionals more than just artists. They are literally frontline defenders of public health, and their battlefield? It's the microbial world.
Now these invisible threats, they fall into four main camps. You've got bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites. And it is absolutely crucial for a pro to know the difference. Why? Because you can't fight a virus the same way you fight a fungus. Knowing your enemy is always the first step to winning the battle.
So how exactly do they fight back? Well, it's not with some single magic bullet. It's a really precise, multi-level system. Let's break down these 4 levels of decontamination. This is the core defense strategy against all those invisible threats we just talked about.
Okay, this table lays out the hierarchy of safety perfectly. At the very foundation, you have cleaning. That's just getting rid of the dirt you can see. It doesn't actually kill the germs, but, and this is so important, you have to do it first. If you don't, any leftover gunk can literally make disinfectants useless. Then you move up the ladder to sanitizing and disinfecting, and at the very top, the final boss, sterilization. That means total elimination of all microbial life, the highest level of clean you can possibly get. So, knowing the levels is one thing, but actually putting them into practice day after day, client after client, that takes a universal code of conduct. These are the core rules that turn all that science into an everyday muscle memory habit.
And right at the heart of that code is this powerful rule from OSHA. It's a concept called universal precautions, and it's basically the foundational mindset for the entire industry. What it does is remove all the guesswork. You don't wonder if something is infectious, you just assume it is, and you act accordingly. It's a simple idea that creates this incredible safety net for everyone.
Now let's talk about maybe the single most important part of infection control, just washing your hands. And that number, 20 seconds, it's not random. It's the exact amount of time backed by science that's needed for the soap and the friction to really break down and wash away those nasty microbes. It's such a simple thing, but it has a massive impact.
Of course, pros also have their own suit of armor, what we call personal protective equipment, or PPE. It's all about creating a physical barrier. Single-use gloves stop germs from hitching a ride between people. Goggles protect from chemical splashes, and masks shield from things like nail dust. Really, it's about protecting absolutely everyone in the room.
Okay, so let's follow the life of a tool. Every single thing a professional uses, from a simple nail file to a pair of metal clippers, has its own specific safety journey it has to go on. And that journey is decided by one thing: what it's made of.
And this right here is the fundamental split. In the salon world, every tool is either porous or non-porous. Porous things like an emery board or a wooden stick are absorbent, kind of like a tiny sponge. They can trap germs and you can't ever get them truly clean, so they have to be single-use. They get tossed after they touch you. But non-porous items, like your metal tools, they're hard and smooth, which means they can be totally cleaned and disinfected between every single client.
For those reusable tools, there's a standardized, foolproof protocol. You can just remember the acronym CHRIS. First, you clean off all the visible stuff. Then you rinse off all the soap. Next, you immerse the tool completely in disinfectant for the full time, no cutting corners. And finally, you store it properly in a clean, covered container. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a repeatable, verifiable procedure that ensures safety.
So, that's the ideal. But what happens when things don't go perfectly? A tiny neck or cut. It's called a blood exposure incident, and this is where a professional's training is really put to the test. Staying calm and following a system is absolutely everything. And there's an exact playbook for this scenario. Step 1, everything stops.
Pencils down. The pro puts on gloves, and both the clients and their own cut, if any, are cleaned and covered. Then, and this is key, anything contaminated gets double bagged and thrown out. The whole workstation is disinfected before anything can start up again. It's like a carefully choreographed safety routine, all designed to minimize risk for everyone.
So where is all this headed? I mean, the basic principles of safety, those are timeless, but technology is now giving us some amazing new tools to manage it all, bringing a whole new level of transparency and efficiency to the game.
We're starting to see what's called intelligent compliance. Just imagine this: salon software that creates a tamper-proof digital record every time a tool is disinfected, or pedicure chairs with sensors that send an alert when it's time for a deep clean. This is technology that moves safety away from a paper checklist and into an automated, totally verifiable system. It's pretty cool.
In all of this, it brings us right back to the human element. At the end of the day, all the rules, all the protocols, all the cool new tech, it all serves one ultimate purpose: building what the source material calls a sacred trust. Because when you can relax knowing your professional is 100% committed to your safety, that service becomes so much more than a transaction. It becomes a true wellness experience.
So now, you're in on the secret. You're not just the client anymore. You're an informed observer. You get the science that's happening behind the scenes. So the real question is, the next time you walk into a salon, now that you know what real safety looks like, what are you going to look for?